Good morning. My name is Fox Phatsimo, a journalist who has been in the business for over a decade. And today we are going to talk about something that is pretty important. It's so important that imo national anthem le Fats, and we are talking about unlocking the philosophy of land in Africa, passionate and pregnant, with Mr. Gilbert Dikoti Sesinyi. Mr. Sesinyi, good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm a student. In fact, I'm an infant when we talk about the land issue, so I'm hoping to learn a lot from you.
Entitled. So what you find in Africa, you said we have big land problem in Africa. One of our biggest land problems in Africa is actually ignorance, or the financing model that incorporates the ideas. We are using what you call debt capital approach. We just can't pour money on land from other revenue streams, like from the fiscal. We don't have to do that. The land itself is capable because we use it and we pay when we use it. That payment is what will pay for the facility that we're using. That's why when you want to build a house, the bank says, give us the title deed. Yeah. So they bond it and give you the money. Yeah. And you pay by what you get from the job. Yeah. But check up in order you have income. Yeah. So that the sustain a payment. And you have title. Title is to secure the interest of the financial institutions. Repayment is the ability around to repay the loan coming from your the fact that you are gainfully employed. You pass the test. Yes. But when it comes to land development infrastructure, everybody pays rates. Yeah. These rates are meant to actually, these guys, everybody here. For this to be like this, it means that there's everybody corporate. Yeah. This is one big block, by the way. Yes. I'm not sitting on many different blocks. Yeah. And the fact that the packing was being looked after, cleaning is being looked after. Packing ain't going to pothole. When you find packing in and pothole, go into the body corporate. But you need to leave. Each one of these people should be paying in the runtime is the levy for the upkeep of yes, which means the erection of the development all the way up to the maintenance of the development. So it's maybe the lack of knowledge. It is. Yes, it's absolutely. And it is the difference between Africa and first. And it is why when we met the colonial civilization, they discovered that about us. So we didn't understand land as science, Well, we looked at it as something separate from we looked at land as we never assumed that the land was actually the source and the generator of wealth. So they took title. You take title. You need title. But we don't understand what title is. We don't know what actually title should be taken for everything. Roads. Can I have just an interview? Yeah, no, you can roads. Highways, bridges, sewer lines, water lines. Anywhere where you spend money, you should tackle it. Because that's the only way that value is going to be accessible to you. So how I can start titling? Because otherwise, my dear, what's its movie thing? Because we don't have the extraction capabilities to leverage for more money.
I was thinking that you know the end road paper, the end road that goes from towards the mosque.
Yeah.
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 That entire line, when I was growing up as a plantation in Batswana, I used to do Batswana, like me when you to, and I used to play with them for some of them I went to school.
Yeah.
But now it's all taken Batswana. Most of them have sold. I think 8% of them have sold. People say, that's one about it. It's in what you do the whole of the seat.
Yes.
I don't think we understand what
happened. Well, then they can come back tomorrow after selling and admire the person that we found we sold to be doing great things. So certainly some of the things that should have happened in an area such as the one you mentioned was that the area was commercialized. So we needed to go the commercial route. You see, places have got a dynamic evolution and a DNA for every locality. And it's dynamic, as I say, it's ever happening. So how change? You can't retain when other demands have come into play. It's now taking on a new shape, yes. But when I want to take you need to commercialize and move out, not to sell. But when I commercialize and move out, but now when that era comes, we sell because maybe we don't want to venture into the commercialized or into the commercial space. Well, I mean, I suppose maybe circumstances differ from person to person, but if I know that when the land will not perform, when an asset will not perform, and you need income, you will sell. Everybody will do that. There's no more I say, how much? That is not rocket science. Or I'm not looking at that. And you need to eat. But if you knew better or had a better plan that was immediately available to you, to show you that you can still eat, but you don't need to sell. Yes, but that must be immediately available because remember, you're dealing with 100%. So, a desperate person. So, whatever plan you present has to be practical. There must be one that the person can undertake and make a living almost on the immediate chaos. And such models are there. But it's just that there's no comprehensive watchdog from the side of government to try and rescue degeneration, the deterioration, even the decay that is happening in terms of just dispossessing ourselves when there are other ways we can work around our problems and still find solutions. So it's the absence of that. So what is the absence of knowledge? What do you expect? If the government is not there to look out for people and there's no framework anyway that people could run to get their problems addressed in a meaningful way and relieve them, at least, of desperation. Which means like formulas, like I say, are actually there. Such formulas exist in the day and things that you and I live. They are being explored by foreigners more because they are more acclimatized to and they have more exposure to such endeavors and models but there are solutions, multiple solutions. You can do all sorts of things. You can release equity. You can sectionalize. You can take such a property, break it down and sell off, plan some, relieve yourself. You can get on board other players and still retain a majority ownership of your property and still get a living. It's just a question of how you package and how you play around with. But you need to have a lateral, peripheral vision to the whole subject matter. Got the same mentality of all. Oil has led us into where we are. Then we will continue to go down, and others will continue to feed off our ignorance and become better and better and better.
So, in terms of the government itself, I mean, kind of the problem of land is so vast that it starts with you being allocated a plot as a Botswana. How does that fall into our lack of knowledge of land? Because Batswana, and often they talk about unserviced land, what do you think the problem that exists there would be? How would it be solved?
No, you see, it's the same problem that I told you about, manifesting itself now in another sphere. Land allocation. If we don't know how to be able to use land as a means of wealth creation, as a means of sustenance, and as a means of development of our environs,
then such problems.
Then even wherever you are, even when you come to allocate, you have a problem. See, the allocation of land and the development of infrastructure, municipalities themselves are charged with a special responsibility to be able to rationalize and lend and develop a program that will entail not only plot allocation, because when a plot is allocated to you, you are expected to pay, if it's in the villages, you pay some rates of sorts, annual rates. The manner in which this determination was made, the rates are called service levies. They are levies that a right holder pays to get infrastructure. Infrastructure, I'm talking about roads, sewer, water, electricity, telephone lines, you name it.
it is actually supposed to be covered by the rates that we pay. Even when they calculate what they calculate, the rates should be calculated based on what would it take for the complete sample of people in a particular area to manage to erect the facilities they need for their livelihood. Yes, but you see, the thing with rates is it's intermittent payments. So in and of themselves, they cannot erect the necessary development because they're intermittent. This is takes you to the example the paying your loan with your salary on a monthly installment. The monthly installment alone is not enough to build a house. So you get a loan that is enough to build a house and you pay off over time intermittently. So these rates are supposed to be amortized. For a facility in a financial institution to pay off the entire sum that we would have collected
over time.
Not over time. I get the loan is given to you in bulk. And then you pay off over time. So the rates we pay should be structured in such a manner that they are amortized as repayments towards a facility, a loan facility, to be able to erect the necessary developments that we need. And then collateralize the servitudes. Collateral auto credit, so it's on title. Without title, you will not be able to secure a loan because you don't have title. So it's like if you don't have title for what you build, the bank cannot give you the loan, even if you qualify. So even if we have the money through the rates, we cannot get the necessary financing unless we are able to pledge the necessary security in the form of a servitude title to the banks. And all this is actually captured even in a local government act. Managed and the municipality, the council. That they will go and get financing. They are allowed to get, but they don't see these subtleties. So the model they use is outside the intended framework. The governance structures that we borrowed from Makwa. They inbuild these things because that's how they run their countries. The idea of title is intrinsic to the civilization of Western development. Intrinsic. It's a given. But we have completely moved away from that as a requirement to development. So right now we don't have title to all our rules, all our sewers, we don't even have title for tribal land. That's why this new secure land title. It's already allocation. They don't give you title. They've been giving people resolutions, silent board. So that shows you the deficiency in the thought process, the ignorance and the omissions at a fundamental level of understanding what this is prerequisite. It is not an option for us to get title to land. There is no other way of doing it in this civilization. So, but because we don't appreciate, we don't understand, we don't even see the interconnectivity or title leads to development. There's no other way of doing it. So, land body on it, the resolution, and that will be okay. No, it can't.
So how title deed, how does that connect to how we are operating as Botswana right now?
Well, title deed just means that on a piece of land, whether it's a road, whether it is a home, you've got that right registered at the deeds registry office. That's all title. That's what the word title deed just means. That that right you have, whatever right, whether it's a right
through title and title deed.
No, I'm saying title deed means that your right is registered at the deeds registry office. Your right to land is registered at the deeds registry office. First, we start with the right. You must have a right.
Yes.
And then go and register at the deeds registry. Once you've registered that right, then it's a title deed. You can have title, but go and register it so that it's a title deed. So and that's what the bank needs. A title deed. A right registered at the deeds registry office. Then the institutions, the banks, the financial institutions, you can talk to them now. Now they can borrow you money now. Because that right secures their interests. It secures their interest to borrow you money. That's right. So without that right, you cannot secure anybody's interest. Therefore, you do not qualify for anyone to lend you money. So in the whole scheme of things, in the whole process of things, we are at lowest when it comes to issuing title to all sorts of things in the country. This is why we're suffering. We have zero ability to access financing. Almost zero. We are running at such a low percentage in terms of that ability, if it was to be measured. Or how much, and that to that extent, and that extent alone determines how you see what you're seeing. Whether people have got serviced plots, if they don't have title, how are you going to get service plots? Now it becomes like a vicious cycle.
And also, you talk to the municipality like Gaborone City Council, they'll tell you already people are not paying the service levies.
It's very simple. See, that makes me laugh because it means maybe they don't understand that service levies are not optional. In fact, they don't have a rates collection, an efficient rates collection mechanism. That is their problem. Rates should be made so compulsory that you can't even have water
in your house.
In your house if you haven't paid rates. But they've done it in a very loose way. That allows an optional. They made it optional. Because they don't understand. Or the homo is compulsory. That's the only thing that will lead to your ability to deliver the services. So you can't create a loose system and then blame people.
Yeah, nobody has ever gone to court
for not paying rates. Nobody needs to go to jail for not paying rates. If you go to places like Sweden, go and see a flawless rates collection mechanism. The operation, go to the Sosanta. You can't do anything. You can't connect electricity. You can't connect water. Yeah, you can't even transfer. You can't do nothing with your plot without rates. In places that understand the importance, significance, and interconnectivity of rates to all things land. So, how respect the authorities themselves? They don't respect rates. And because
is it fair to say maybe part of that problem, what we just talked about, is the reason why Gaborone or Botswana is developing at the slowest rate there is?
It is not even something that I would, sort of tiptoe around and sort of like want to second guess or start thinking there may be other mysterious reasons. But this is a science.
It's that simple.
Yeah, it's a science. That's the way it's structured. It is like asking, or doesn't mean that this man having drunk poison is the reason why he died. Yeah, it is just direct. Yeah, no rates, no development, period. Then you'll be running around depleting your systems.
Look at a place like Gaborone North where you'd think, this is a top-tier place. Still, after so many years, no roads.
Yeah, but that is fraud. What is happening there is Gaborone City Council is a total fraudster in Gaborone North because they are, when you collect rates, when you are levy rates, you also have a congruent responsibility to provide services. So you cannot feel justified in collecting rates when you are not providing services. It's like stealing. Because the rates are service levies. Yeah. So if service levies are being levied, whether or not you're collecting them, that's your problem.
That's your problem.
Yeah, but you cannot now have the right to collect and not do what you're supposed to do. But I also feel sorry for them because I know even if they were collecting, they still wouldn't be able to do the development side because they don't understand the relationship between the rates and the servitudes that they have to develop.
Yeah.
The connectivity. So it's a discombobulated approach, a disorganized thinking in a way that does not really acknowledge and use. It's chaotic, brother. It's chaotic.
So already it doesn't matter what question I ask. We're still going back to a lack of knowledge.
Yes.
Therefore, we are where we are.
This is why we are where we are.
Damn it.
This is why we are where we are. And the only solution is knowledge.
Yeah.
And then implementation of that knowledge.
Have you started shooting? The man was already shooting. So you are recording, we can continue. Or we should start. Okay. Okay. We have a serious problem right now of a new government that wants to do things right. Let's talk about at policy level, at the highest level. What is the most immediate thing you need to do to ensure that we gradually move towards fixing the problems of land that we have?
Well, there are low-hanging fruits. There are low-hanging fruits. We don't really need to change laws. The laws are okay. We just haven't not been implementing these laws because we've never had a good appreciation of what these laws were set up for in the first place. Remember I said these laws are borrowed laws. We didn't engineer these laws. They came from societies that are much more efficient than our society because these laws are implemented and used as a symphony orchestra from different quarters of the economy. These laws come together to sing one song: development. The country must develop, and they need enablers in order to develop. You need certain things in place for development to take place. Development doesn't just happen hocus pocus, and you cannot use money from other sources, from the fiscus, that has got no relationship whatsoever with the development of land in whatever sphere you may find yourself in. And this is the model we've been using. That's why when people, the parliamentarians meet and funds are allocated and the quotas are given from the fiscus, it is always, no, we're just waiting. All municipalities, all localities are waiting to be given handouts. So the handout economy that is not rationalized and that is not properly worked out on the ground to make sure that things account. It's an accounting game. For every asset must account for itself. And the laws are in place for us to achieve that. These are the lowest hanging fruits. The new administration, what it needs to do is to issue directives for the implementation of laws that are already in place, so that they kill the mindset that is retro, that is backwards, the mindset that causes arrest, that causes the lack of, that handcuffs and disables instead of enables action and activity. For example, the issue is land value capture. We've got lots of land. We've got plans, what we call development plans, that need to be implemented. And the previous regime was in the habit of almost frustrating the implementation of development plans in various localities. Development plans are the vision of the growth of a locality, but spatially. In areas where there's a rezoning of certain land masses and a determination as to what is going to go where and what is going to happen when and what, the time frame. And we've got these development plans. One is, we have one that we waited for a long time, apparently. All that's left so that, it's a multi-sectoral, so that the value can be realized. I mean, how many simu 10 hectares, quote unquote, and that simu is rezoned into a commercial plot or an industrial plot. Look at Mamashia. But Massimo are converted. We spearheaded efforts to convert these home into peri-urban use, industrial and commercial, because that's what's needed in the area. Not only because this is not, an area that was doing well in that regard, but we looked at the needs of the community. And when that land use was issued, then the value was released. Now the government seems to have a problem, or the old government seems to have a problem with that kind of mass beneficiation, where the ordinary man benefits from the conversion of land use into a use that would unleash value. Now these are low-hanging fruits. So where there are such dispensations, these government authorities that have suffered some sort of reluctance to allow the masses to gain and not compete with them under some pretext. There will be an imbalance. Other people will be richer than others, because that's equitable redistribution. That can still happen in the context of a dynamic area. Healing is permitted and legislated land use to take effect. We're waiting for Mamashia. We're very excited about it. It's about to happen. The PS has told us for mid-February that will implement it. But we know, because knowledge has visited us. We know because now we have learned. A great day has been upon us where light and understanding has been given to us by the universe. And we want to go now and reach out to this. So the leadership should just enforce the implementation of these. These are low-hanging fruits. And the leadership should also look critically at the subject of title and enforce some mechanism, because Botswana, like I say, we're suffering from the lack of issuance of title. And that will stranglehold and chokehold any endeavor that we have in developing land. Like I told you, that one is fundamental. Title first. And then after title, but we need the regular title. Regular title, the type of title that is in agreement or in harmony with the development plan that has been determined by the authorities and is of statutory capability. So if these things were to happen, if the new government was to make sure we get title, the failing secure land title program needs to be jump-started or paralleled with another program, the lease. We don't mind any type of title, leasehold title, the one we used to get, should immediately come into play. they must take seriously the fact that Batswana have a title. Because we don't need money from outside. We have the money. Only if we could get title to our land, only if we could get regular title, then we will start doing business and relief. And government, by the way, starts collecting better rates, more revenue. Government has been denied collection of revenue. But the rentals or the rentals payable are very low. But how we talk about a commercial plot, a residential plot, government collects a lot more, and the owner of the right is able to do a lot more developments. It's a win-win.
We all win.
We all win. So the fiscus will improve because we'll be paying money, and later on the other hand, we'll be able to do developments and build and employ children, create employment. That not government when we have land that we can use to be able to explode its value and solve our problems.
The land itself is money.
The land is money. Money itself is useless. It's just paper with pictures on it. Yeah, money is not. It's just paper with some dead presidents sometimes on it, or some little pictures. Nothing of substance.
Right.
But they say, what is money in definition? It is a measure of value.
Yes.
So the question is, which value? Which value? Value is on the land. So money is a pointer. It's an indicator that there is some land somewhere that has value. So land is money. Your shadow is not you, because your shadow is an indication that you are there.
Yes.
You are the real thing.
Yes.
Money is as a shadow is to you.
Yeah.
This paper, it is land.
So now we jump to the issue of, in many instances, seeing a large chunk of land, commercial land, sometimes in a strategic area, we see a mass influx of foreigners. Is this something that should worry us as Africans, that, it seems like we are selling, or whatever the conditions may be? Should we be worried for it? A lot of land is being taken
for sure. For sure. It's a recolonization. We should be worried. It's a recolonization that is happening under consent this time.
Yeah.
Because in the absence of knowledge, we are not protected. We are easy to release in the absence of knowledge. Those with higher knowledge are easy to obtain. So we have to find refuge under knowledge. And this knowledge has to be protected. And it must be spread en masse. And it must be given to government. It must be institutionalized. It must be the type of knowledge that is intentional to protect the populace, but not to protect them by brute force.
Yeah.
Protect them with infusing in their minds a higher understanding that will enable them to utilize their God-given resource, their God-given gift. Lefatshe leno ke la rona, ke boswa. Lefatshe leno ke la rona, ke boswa ja borra rona ke re. Lefatshe leno la rona again.
So you were right.
Ke boswa ja borra. Ke mpho ya Modimo. If we can begin to think along those lines and see how we can be able to not only do it privately in corners like here, you and I, but be able to structure this thing. Put it in a framework that will be able to benefit the many people that it has the ability to benefit.
Yeah, no, talking about it being an institutionalized way of educating, we would have to start with the ministry itself. They need to know what's going on, and they need to know how to cascade the information all the way up, down, whether primary school, whether in spaces where they know Batswana are, who are concerned with land, who might have land, who might want to acquire land. Do you think where we are right now, the ministry or the government knows as much as they should know about these issues so as to make them a priority?
I don't think they know. I don't think they know. Kerala just talking as humbly and genuinely as I can. Yeah, I don't think they know. Listen, I don't blame them. One is not wrong for not knowing. But where one is wrong is for Horeano after knowing. What do you do? So I have a problem now because this knowledge is entered into our space. This knowledge that I'm sharing with you is amongst us now.
It's in your book.
It's in my book. It's in the courts. It's in the tribunals.
You've done
We are
interviews.
doing interviews. We are not a figment here. We are
not hiding it.
We are not hiding it. I mean, with the old, the former government, we were out there. Much more out there because whenever they were resistant. So we were like out there making the noise. So to the extent that we are not a secret, and to the extent that we do conduct master classes every month, as I'm at UB, Plaza, in different forums, we are seen, we are visible, we are trying. But one man or a few men can only do so much. We are pleading for the government, those with the ability and the power,
and
the resources and the reach, to help us, to help our people. We will never stop talking. Even if they do nothing, we will continue because this is what God has given us as a calling.
The facts don't change.
And the facts will never change.
So I'm a radio presenter. I've been a journalist for over 12 years now. And my main concern is always the average Botswana. I always give an example of an average Botswana who lives in Mopane Block 1 because they can afford a room there. They work at University of Botswana. Sometimes they have to walk that entire distance to UB and back because they do not have enough money for taxi fares just to make ends meet until the end of the month. What do you want them to know listening to this interview about land? Because it doesn't matter where we start. That's where all of us want to end at. It would be what we call a Botswana dream. I have land. This is where I am. What's the one thing you want them to know right now that they can act on?
Well, Botswana, I call us land rich cash poor. Botswana, what has? At different gradations. So, it's a hell of how the Botswana, what has? You already have rights. Those rights, whether they have been formalized or not, they exist because you didn't drop from space. You were born from people. And you just have to embark on a journey, a personal journey. First and foremost, you must trace your roots. There are communal rights that exist out there. They are unregistered rights. Those the law recognizes, by the way. You have a lot to go and claim. You have rights, you have rights, even I was teaching people the other day, they must understand communal rights. The communal rights are real rights. They can be made real rights, rather. Communal rights are not imaginary. So how long around Botswana, you must go and find, we had a tripartite land ownership system. Botswana had an entitlement to Masim, had an entitlement to a home in the village, had an entitlement to Moraka. Go and search and see where you are placed in that context. Find out what your grandfathers, we have left wealth, Komaraf, and Abatwaba have come in to take it, believe it or not, because we were drawn into towns and then sold a dream and then fell asleep. And then by so doing became like the prodigal son. We have forgone and forfeited wealth. You need to look at the country as yours and find out where you are placed in the country and what is right for you. And be systematic. Because you find yourself in this space, it's a grand opportunity for you to retrace your steps. And then lastly, get development plans of the various localities where your interests are couched. Get development plans. I teach that. And superimpose your interests on those development plans so you can be rightly guided. And get in touch with brothers like me who have not only the passion, but the expertise to move us from one point to the other. It is what I do. I took one man's cattle post and changed it into a ranch. It was an unbelievable feat, but the policies allow. I did it because we study for excellence. We want to study for production. We want to study to escape poverty. We want to use knowledge to come out of these hardships that we find ourselves in. Relevant has a particular or special. So, Mr.
Gilbert Dikoti Sesinyi. Oh, Papa Taban Sesinyi.
Yeah.
Let's go and overhead kick my
Oh, okay.
What a brilliant son. No. Let's talk about unlocking the philosophy of land in Africa. Passionate and pregnant. First of all, when did you get the idea? And once you got it, how did you go about structuring? Because I can see you are a man who loves structure.
The idea of what?
The book itself.
No, I think the book has always been in me. You know, books reside in us, they just come out. I believe everybody is writing a book, really. It's just that they haven't composed it or consolidated it. I mean, it is just the reflections and meditations of a person through a span of time. So I've had concerns, I've had insights, I've had worries about how we do what we do for many years. It just took a certain moment in my development that I decided now to make it into a book, and because it's an avenue of expression or a method through which I hope to reach others outside myself, apart from just talking. There are many books inside me. There's another one coming, and my brother here was saying to me, it cannot be another book, it must be book 2 as a follow-up, because I need to make emphasis on certain of the issues that I've raised. Having looked and seen how people have responded to book 1, to be able to now amplify it, consolidate it, make it mainstay, man. I mean, this shouldn't be something that just comes and goes. This is meant to change lives forever and make us see things in a way that we heretofore never saw them in. We want to create a whole new reality. And if this issue or this thinking or this understanding has lived in me, grew with me, has been part of me, whether I realized it or not, I was still at some point in time meant to end up here across the table with you, expressing myself the way I am. It started from when I was a little boy. It started at some point, my father saw a gift. He didn't understand. I didn't know that I would talk about land. But I had inclinations. I had things driving me, pushing me more towards certain things than others. But I'm still a developing human being. But I'm here now. I'm at this stage. And that stage going here, the composition of the sense of what land represents and what it can do for us, and in this era, and what must be done, and what we should be up to do. So the book was just a synthesis of my thoughts and my thought process.
Yes, wanting to solve problems. You talked about a monthly forum.
Yes.
Tell us more about it. Where is it held, and what does one need to do to become a part of it, so that we can ask follow-up questions or specific questions regarding where we are in terms of land in Botswana?
Well, certainly, right now we do master classes, monthly master classes. We've been holding them at UB, at one of the lecture rooms. We just announced them on a couple of weeks prior, and sent flyers around to groups on social media. And people pay a fee, 350 pula, depending on the facility that we are out there for. The next masterclass we have chosen, or we are going to hold it at a farm near Mutipan, that has a theme of precision agriculture that we want to particularly bring the attention of the attendees towards, to showcase how land, a certain gentleman that we visited, uses minimal amount of land, like 4 hectares, but produces what you would need 1,500 hectares to produce land on. We want to show these things, that they are living, because these involve stuff that we have gone around the world and learned from other places, Boston, Dubai, Hong Kong, America. We've gone to different places. We have seen certain things. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to align our people with the best practices, the cutting edge knowledge. So they happen once a month, these master classes. And soon we will also enroll courses that will run for about 6 months. We will give themes and go across Homo, because the real idea is to train Batswana to offload this knowledge into the minds of the ordinary Botswana, because it is not rocket science. It is something that even a baby can understand, but it must be put in a context. It must be put in a manner that a person can assimilate and walk out there as a giant in understanding and contend with the powers that be, who have for a long time taken advantage of the ignorance of our people. And this is how we intend to change even authority and how they think, by changing the masses, changing how they think, so they can engage at the right level and stop being shortchanged with little things because they don't understand.
If they want change at the top, then we'll try it at the bottom.
We're going to push it from
to implement what should
absolutely,
be implemented.
brother.
I love it. What's your number? How do we find you on social media so that we can engage you, especially in terms of, enrolling for that master class and paying beforehand? Because I would like to say after this, many people are going to want to be there.
My number is 77487983. On WhatsApp, I'm reachable on the same number, Facebook, I'm still trying to organize, get the platform running right. So for now, I'll stay that for now.
Right.
And we will release more details about how to reach me on my social media platforms at the masterclasses.
So I can also call that number to buy the book.
Yes, you call that number to buy the book. You call that number for consultation if you want to come to our office. You call that number. I'm just a reachable man, ordinary, just there.
I reached you on a
Yeah,
Sunday.
easy, easy.
So what's the name of your organization and where is it situated?
The organization is called Land Watchdog. It's situated in Block 8 Industrial, just next to the Diamond Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, my king. I'm definitely going to buy the book and read it.
Yes.
So that we can do. I like what you said when you talked about being a need for continuous engagement.
Yes, indeed, sir.
So we'll do many more of these because I would like to tell you that I was clueless about many of the things that you talked about today.
Yes.
You taught me something, which means follow-up questions will be much more important as
Absolutely.
we continue to educate Batswana. But thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. God bless you, sir.